Hi, and welcome to today's class of Vedic astrology. So, today let's understand about the concept of Lagna Dosh. Lagna, I am sure you have understood it by now if you have watched all of my classes. Lagna means it is the first house. It is also known as ascendant, all right? And if I want to use the English terminology that is used in Vedic astrology. So Lagna Dosh is definitely related to the aspect of Lagnesh, that is the Lord of the first house. So whenever there is a Lagna Dosh, it means the Lagnesh has a big problem, that is being placed in some sort of a way, in some sort of a fashion in that particular Lagna chart. And it is very, very common if the Lagnesh itself gets weak or has a Lagna dosh, then many Raj Yogas they don't form. Even if they are forming in the Lagna chart, if it is visible that yes, it is forming in the Lagna chart, but why the effects are not there? There are Raj Yogas forming in the Lagna chart, but that individual is not able to utilize or not able to see those effects in their life. The reason being, there is a Lagna dosh. So that Lagna dosh cancels many Raj Yogas, many auspicious yogas forming in the Lagna chart, especially if the Raj Yogas, if the auspicious yogas are forming in the 6th house, 8th house, or the 12th house. So whenever there is a Lagna dosh, such yogas, auspicious yogas, they don't form. The overall horoscope of that individual also gets very weak. Whenever there is a Lagna dosh, I will discuss all of the points. So let's go step by step. Now let's understand how Lagna dosh forms. All right, let's understand the conditions of it. If the Lagnesh, that is the Lord of the first house, is placed in the 6th house, 8th house, and 12th house, then there is a Lagna dosh. Even if the Lagnesh has Viparit Raj Yoga, suppose if the Lagnesh is placed in the 6th house and there is a Viparit Raj Yoga happening, for Lagnesh, I had discussed about this particular point multiple times by now in multiple of my classes, previous classes, that Viparit Raj Yoga doesn't apply for Lagnesh. So if a Lagnesh is placed in the bad houses, 6th, 8th, or 12th, there is a Lagna dosh. If Lagnesh is degree wise powerless, that is, if the Lagnesh has either of these 5 degrees, 0, 1, 2, 28, or 29, then also there will be a Lagna dosh, because the Lagnesh is quite powerless degree wise and in nature. If the Lagnesh is debilitated, then also there will be a Lagna dosh. The Lagna dosh only cancels out when there will be a Neech Bhang Raj Yoga for the Lagnesh. If it doesn't happen, if the Lagnesh stays debilitated in the Lagna chart, then there will be a Lagna dosh. If the Lagnesh gets ast because of sun, gets combust because of sun, then there is also a Lagna dosh. If the Lagnesh suffers from Pap Katri dosh, I had discussed about the topic of Pap Katri dosh in detail completely in one of my previous class. So if the Lagnesh suffers from Pap Katri dosh, then also there will be Lagna dosh. So in all of these conditions, Lagna dosh occurs in a particular Lagna chart. All right. I had discussed about all of the points whatever points are the important points for a Lagna dosh to form, then I had discussed it all in this particular class. Either of one of the, it's just one of all of these points are happening, like either of these points are happening, then Lagna dosh will form. It is not necessary that multiple points of such points that I had discussed, that I had discussed needs to be fulfilled. No, even if one of those particular points happens, it means the Lagnesh gets powerless, the Lagnesh suffers, and because of that, the Lagna dosh arises. So whenever there is a Lagna dosh, the most important indication or the most common symptom is that person suffers from frequent health problems. Now, if the Lagnesh is moon, it will be mental health problems. If the Lagnesh is any other planets, it will be physical health problems, which also gives problem to the mental health, because both of them, they are interconnected. All right. So what problem arises, it depends on where the Lagnesh is placed, how much the Lagnesh is weak, and which particular planet is the Lagnesh. That we need to check in order to properly specify as per the concept of medical astrology, to understand, to analyze and interpret what is the possibility that individual will have problems from, physical health problems from, or mental health problems from. All right. I'm just repeating it, stating it out one time. I had discussed about the topic of medical astrology in detail in one of my previous classes. And one more point I need to discuss is, if Saturn is the Lagnesh, I think I had touched upon this particular point in some of my previous class. I am not able to understand which particular class, but I had definitely discussed this point. I had said, if Saturn sits in the 6th house or in the 8th house or in the 12th house, even if Saturn is Maraka, if Saturn is placed in the bad houses, Saturn definitely somewhat converts into a Maraka. Even if Saturn is a Yoga Karka, holds rulership of good houses in a particular Lagna chart, but if the placement of Saturn itself is in bad houses, then Saturn will not be able to give auspicious effects. But if Saturn, suppose we need to understand, if Saturn is the Lagnesh and Saturn is placed in either of the 6th house, 8th house or 12th house, so a Lagna dosh is happening for Saturn. All right. But we have to understand, and this is only applicable for the planet Saturn. All right, only applicable for Saturn. Double quotes on Saturn. Whenever Saturn is the Lagnesh, and if Saturn is sitting in the 6th house, 8th house or the 12th house, it gives a kind of a mental strength to that individual. It gives willpower to that individual. That individual gets mentally very strong. All right. And it doesn't mean that Saturn will not be giving its Maraka effects. If Saturn is Maraka, Saturn will give Maraka effects. It depends on the horoscope, Lagna chart, depends on the overall individual's life. But despite of the hurdles, difficulties, especially when Saturn is Maraka, despite of the inauspicious effects or Maraka effects, that individual will have a lot of mental strength to fight, to, go through, to keep on moving forward. So that individual will have this mental tenacity to move ahead, to fight odd situations, uncomfortable situations. So the willpower and the mental strength of that individual will be quite high. And that's why we say that when Saturn is placed in the 6th house, 8th house and 12th house, and when Saturn is the Lagnesh, it gives an overall strength to the house. So this is an only exception when it comes to Saturn and understanding the Lagna dosh in this particular aspect. So I had discussed about, it was a very brief concept, a small concept, But the concept is very, very important, because as I had said, even if certain Raj yogas, auspicious yogas, good conjunctions, good placement of planets are occurring in 6th house, especially in the 6th house, 8th house, 12th house, results don't come in certain situations. Why? Because in most of those certain situations, a practitioner of Vedic astrology will see that Lagna chart has a Lagna dosh. And whenever there is a Lagna dosh, and I had discussed about all of the points which causes a Lagna dosh to happen, then certain auspicious effects that should be arising from Raj yogas, auspicious yogas, doesn't really gets visible in that individual's life because of an inauspicious Lagna. So under such situation, it is very, very, very essential to strengthen the Lagnesh. Don't go after strengthening the inauspicious or auspicious yogas, which were supposed to give result, but it is not giving results. It is not giving results because of the Lagnesh. You don't have to improve those planets or those yogas. Those yogas are anyway auspicious. Focus on improving the Lagnesh. Only when you will be able to improve and strengthen your Lagnesh, the auspicious yogas will definitely start to give good effects. Otherwise, even if the auspicious yogas are not there, generally an individual will get a lot of mental and physical strength whenever the Lagnesh, if it has Lagna dosh, gets improved by following proper Vedic astrology that I had discussed multiple times in most of my videos. Wherever it needs to be discussed, I had discussed it. So I think I had covered all the points which I wanted to discuss and share for today's topic, that was Lagna dosh. I hope you have understood about this very important concept and in detail. I hope you are watching all of my classes of Vedic astrology starting from class 1. Don't miss even a single class. If you miss even a single class, you will miss out on a lot of important concepts. And as I had already discussed multiple times by now, all of my classes are interconnected. It's not like that one class is in silo, one class is not dependent on each other. All of the contents, all of the concepts, all of the topics of Vedic astrology that I am discussing and sharing in my YouTube channel, all of them are interconnected. So in order to understand one topic in one particular class, you have to watch all of the previous classes first, and then you need to come to that particular class to understand about that complete class thoroughly and with accuracy. All right. So keep on watching my classes over and over and over again till you have that confidence, till you have that skill that yes, you can implement that learning in your practice. All right. Till that time, keep on practicing it and keep on learning it. And for that, you have to watch my videos, practice it in your own, and then you will achieve that confidence, that skill in that particular topic. All right. And then you go step by step, and then you move to the next topic. That is the next class. So before you say goodbye to today's class, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Living Virtuously YouTube channel. Like my videos, share my videos, and if you have any doubts, any queries, any questions related to the topic of Vedic astrology that I am sharing and discussing in my YouTube channel, in all of my classes, and also in the upcoming classes that I will be discussing, whenever you have doubts, you have questions, you have queries, share them in the comment section, and I will definitely try to answer and resolve your queries and doubts. All right. I will see you in the next class. Take care and be happy.